Hello guys, welcome back to another Warframe video. This time I'm going to be covering the Rakta Dark Dagger. Now this weapon you can pick up from Red Veil, and it's a dagger version of the original Dark Dagger. Now with this weapon, hello. Like I was saying, this weapon is kinda underwhelming from the fact that it has a low status chance, and based on its passive is that when you initiate a status effect like a radiation or whatever kind of status effect that you initiate on your enemy, is that when you do that you will get overshield. But here's the thing, being that this weapon has a low status chance, it's hard to actually proc the said status effect when it comes to these enemies. So you're gonna have to play devil's advocate when it comes to this weapon. And at the same time, what's also good about it too, but at the same time it's a downside to it too, is that you could put Gleaming Blight on. Now you could pick up that as well from Red Veil, I believe. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But when you have it equipped, you could keep doing this, stab them and whatnot. But here's the thing, when you have Gleaming Blight on, as we all know, for a certain period of time, if you get a certain number of kills, it will proc and it will do its thing and so on. But as far as with a dagger and you put Covert Lethality on, once it procs and whatnot, and you're trying to do stealth kills like this, get stealth multipliers and whatnot, it will proc. Enemies will be somewhat alerted, and you will be able to keep getting stealth multiplier bonuses and whatnot. You could still kill them, but you won't be able to get the initial bonus. You could just only kill them like pow and just kill them just like that. You're gonna have to restart the chain all over again and stuff. So it's kind of pick your poison with this weapon. But the only downside to it is that you need status in order to proc the radiation or whatever it is that you're trying to proc, and at the same time when you hit an enemy that is inflicted with status, you get overshield. So it's kind of hard to actually do that, and once you have it out like this, enemies will have a hard time seeing you. You need to have it out in order for it to be triggered. So that's it's kind of good at the same time if you're doing stealth runs, but at the same time it's like, you would rather just be in prowl and just continue to keep doing that. And at the same time, as you can see, some plastids and Rabido here. I was going to poke these, get my stuff. So yeah, it's kind of underwhelming when you think about it, as far as with a weapon where you need to get a status effect in order to trigger the overshields and so on. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to do that when you have a status of 34%. Even when you put on the Gleaming Blight, it's still not enough. So it's like, man, you gotta pretty much come up with all kind of moves, different type of setups as far as to try and get this thing to proc, because again, you're talking about a weapon that doesn't have much to work with. But is this weapon still good to get? Yeah, it's still good to get. It's still a syndicate melee weapon, one. It has its use, but at the same time, when it comes to doing stealth runs, you're gonna have to pretty much, I won't say use your head, but you gotta come up with a setup that will suit your liking as far as stealth, put on the status that you want, but at the same time, when you're looking at that Gleaming Blight, it's like, okay, if I put this on, I'll increase its status, but at the same time, I don't want to be detected. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to make a close decision call when it comes to putting on that Gleaming Blight. So that's probably all I can deduce as far as with this weapon. And as you can see, even though these enemies are weak, I'm taking them out. Even though if I may go up against high level enemies, trying to trigger this, it's kind of a chore. That's the best way I could describe it. Whereas you trying to proc that status, and when you do, you need to poke them again to get the overshield. So it's kind of out there. It's one of those weapons that most people will get, but at the same time, when you compare it to, let's say, the Tellus Boltus, Vacor Sidon, and all of that stuff, it's like, do I really want this dagger? That's what you're gonna arrive at the end of the day. It's like, But is the weapon good? Yeah, it's good. It's not completely garbage when it's like, you know, skip it. But I was still advised to pick it up. I mean, not just me using it. I advise you to pick it up because I'm using it. But at the same time, you know, pick it up. You know, use it. Test it yourself. See how you like it. So you see, I'm just going through these enemies, you know, just poking them and whatnot, trying to proc that overshield. But again, it's kind of difficult to do that when you're killing them at the same time too. So it's like, but it is what it is when it comes to this weapon. And my setup for it, I'm trying to make up for what it lacks, even though it's a dagger. I put on prime reach only because when you're trying to slide and trying to hit enemies as much as I do, I even do it with a dagger, and I am successful at my slides and connecting with my hits. So it's like, you know, it comes down to timing and at the same time execution. So it takes practice. Some people, they have a difficult time when it comes to doing sliding attacks. It just takes practice. Once you're used to it, you could just do slide attacks with any weapon, no matter if it's a dagger and whatnot, even though daggers are not meant to do slide attacks on. But you can suffice. You'll live. These guys still trying to kill me, mow me down, but again, trying to get through this. So the Rakta Dark Dagger, it stands where it stands. As you see, I got a radiation proc on him, but again, he already died so fast that the overshield, you ain't gonna be able to see it, but it happens. It's just that it's so hard to trigger because of its low status chance. That's why people are just angry at it. They may tweak it. They may give it like a buff, and if they do, it's worth it, because again, in order for its effect to kick in, that you have to proc it with some kind of proc enemies with a status, and it's kind of hard to do that when it has a low status chance. And even with Gleaming Blight, like I said, 38, roughly 34-38%. That's not enough. It has to be like around 44 or at least 48. Put it to like at least half of the time you will proc that. Then it will be semi worth it. That's just my view on it. So this game's about to come down to its conclusion as far as with me using this Rakta Dark Dagger. And there goes another one of these plastids. So gotta deal with another enemy. So, and that's technically all she wrote. I'm just gonna get one more enemy, and that's practically it. There it goes. So Rakta Dark Dagger, it is what it is. It's where it stands. You could pick it up if you want to. I still advise for you to pick it up, only because, again, mastery, if you care about that at least. So this is King Kachi, man. I'll check you later. Peace out.